Palworld left early access on July 10th, 2026, with a massive update and the launch of the full 1.0 game. Pocketpair's open-world survival craft and catch sandbox has sold 40 million units. This 1.0 version we have here now, and really the game at large, is a dopamine factory. I'm the real-life Fake Wizard, and this is a Fake Wizard's review of Palworld 1.0. If this video brings you any value at all, hit the subscribe button, as we're posting new reviews nearly every day. The story of Palworld is simple. You wash up on the shores of the Galapagos Islands. You throw spheres at creatures called pals, and you put them to work until your base turns into a Fortune 500 factory. The combat system is guns and pals battling it out to the death. The gameplay loop is a never-ending series of dominoes. You start exploring, which triggers a desire to craft for improvement, which allows you to explore a little more, which allows you to craft better things and catch more pals, which allows you to explore a little more, which allows you to build a better base for crafting, which allows you to explore a little more. And with every piece of this, you find the hours of your day just poof, gone. Disappear, gone. And there are plenty of games that do this with crafting and exploration, but using the pals to build your base, firstly, it's a requirement, but in 1.0, every single pal has some kind of usefulness. There is some kind of viability to all of them at different times in your series of gameplay. You just need to see where they fit best at which time. Sometimes they're just best for lunch. Full transparency here, I played this game during the early access. I got it on the PlayStation 5 when they added the Daybreak update around the top of 2025, so I had already dumped a ton of hours into this game. What's great for my review here is that I got to play 1.0 with friends. I played with the Saturday Night Hypnosis crew on a fresh install of the game and all brand new characters. For many of them, this was their first time playing Palworld. They waited for 1.0 on purpose to get the full game experience.
I have multiple depressed, starving, and apparently one has a major injury and a fracture. What happened to these animals when I was gone?
And the result is that they were hooked on this the same way I was. And so that brings us to the new endgame content, which is truly weeks worth of content to be played on top of an already satisfying and lengthy experience. Getting to the endgame takes a long time. Fully working the new islands takes a long time. To even get to, it takes a long time. Pocketpair shipped 72 new pals, 2 new continents to explore, an awakening system, the mutation system, a level cap bump to 80, the tower fights got reworked a little bit. The overall map itself has been retooled in different ways and shapes. Something worth noting is the fishing system, which I know was released a few patches ago, but this adds an entirely new chain to this loop, and it's essential. You need to make fishing part of your gameplay routine because the rewards are just massive. When you hear about fishing in a video game, it sounds like side content, but in Palworld, you need it to get around at some point. There is a lot of ocean in this game, and while you can fly around, the game expects you to sail with your pals and pick up tons of loot. By the time you reach your destination, if you reach your destination, your inventory is already full. And that brings us to some of the things that I think are still a little, maybe disappointing is the right word. I think the story is still very weak, at least through the early and base game. The end game stuff gets far more interesting, but for instance here, part of the experience is taking on these boss towers, which are similar to gym leaders from Pokemon. In the early access, you just go find them and fight them. Essentially, you could do the same thing here in 1.0, but 1.0 brings with it a longer mini-quest system leading up to each boss after interacting with the people of the world. These quests aren't as exciting or interesting as maybe they should have been, and I also think that's from my own experience of having played the game in early access. If you're walking in blind, you may feel differently about the new quests, and that's a good thing. That's great. I hope you have a great time. I find the new text boxes are a slog, and I'd rather just go to the tower and fight the boss instead of going through tedious side quests that don't have much reward to them. 1.0 also brings with it new crafting gates in the mid-game. Some items need batteries now, which need PAL organs, so you need to constantly be farming PAL organs now, as well as everything else that needs to keep being farmed. The new wooden plank boards are the most annoying new craftable, because you'll always have all but one thing needed to do the crafting, and then when you have the one thing missing, you don't have enough of it. So you can only craft 1 or 2 of the boards, and you need 20, and then rinse and repeat looking for all the mats again and again. This is definitely a friction point. Building bases in Palworld is fun. It's part of the addicting aspect. But I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that they seem to have made it more difficult to build bases than it was prior to 1.0. In the past, you'd have a little more space to put down wooden foundations and wooden floors. You used to be able to clip into the world a little bit easier, but now, not so much. The walls of where you can build are a lot more strict than they were before, and overall base building is better in practice in other games. Even Pokemon Pokopia has a cleaner building feel to it. But all of that said, the buildings people are posting online are daunting. These bases are ridiculous. Some players out there just have that architectural eye. Not me. I build for function, not fashion. A final observation here, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this in the comments too. When you look at a game like Palworld, and you compare it to something like Pokemon, for instance, I've noticed that in Palworld, finding and building emotional connections to the pals is very different. Whereas with Pokemon, you see a Pokemon, you know its name, its type, you remember that episode of the anime that this Pokemon appeared on, you know how it sounded, it's burnt into your brain. And usually those are positive emotions around these pocket monsters. Palworld doesn't have any of that. You see pals as, and I'm serious in this, tools to be exploited rather than companions to be part of a team, or a collection to complete like Pokemon. I mean, if you catch a bunch of pals that are of no use to you, there is a conveyor belt to harvest their organs. Pokemon doesn't have that. Like with Palworld, the pals will get depressed if their living conditions aren't good enough, and as soon as the depression sticker pops up, you might have a fleeting thought of putting them into that wood chipper. Which I know sounds cruel, but you're battling this idea over, oh my gosh, I am in between real-life work calls right now, and I'm trying to finish crafting the crude oil extractor that I'm building outside a volcano. The heck do you mean you're depressed and not working? So, yeah, Pokemon is certainly more friendly. With Palworld 1.0, the game will continue retailing for $30 in the United States, which is a welcome announcement and a great entry point into a franchise that is bound to leave you having a great time. Personally, I hope we get more Palworld anything, even if it's in the form of spin-offs. Maybe it's not necessarily in a Palworld 2. While the system's addiction and the expanded endgame carry this experience, the soft story and mid-game crafting taxes keep it from a clean 10, which renders this game, gotta finish it, 9 out of 10. Okay, we need to tie up this video now so I can go play more Palworld. Are you playing Palworld 1.0? Let us know in the comments. If you found value in this review, hit the subscribe button, as we're posting new reviews nearly every day. Until next time, create, innovate, inspire, and cancel your Disney Plus subscription.